Hello everyone, I am doing an impromptu discussion of a proposal to change tokenomics, and I'm just setting up the streaming for a bit. So give me a moment and we will start soon. Just checking that my stream is fine. Okay, great. Um, Looks like we all set, and so let's begin. All right, checking my voice levels, looks fine. So, looking for some viewers to come in. Great. Okay, great. So my name is Ruben. I am the project steward of Firo. We are a privacy cryptocurrency. And today, I wanted to kind of discuss a big proposal that I recently made to change basically the tokenomics and the block reward of Firo. And yeah, let me just show you what we've been looking at. So currently, Firo obviously has a block reward, and that block reward is 12.5 coins every 5 minutes. We follow the same kind of release schedule as Bitcoin, so that means we will have like almost 21.4 million coins, and every 4 years the supply emission moves. We have already completed the first halving, but so we're now in the second halving stage as well. So okay, let's first of all let's take a look at the current block. And this was back when we were. This was decided back when we were called Zcoin back in 2020, and we decided that post halving, the block reward would be 50% to miners, 35% to master nodes, and 15% to a block reward. So yeah, so let me show you how that looks like on the Explorer. You can take a look here, right? So you can see this is how the block reward is thing. So you can see 1.875, which is 15% that goes to the development fund, right? 6.25 goes to miners, and 4.375 goes to master nodes, right? So this is basically what this allocation is right here. Obviously, this is slightly more because of transaction fees that miners get. Okay? So why am I proposing to change the tokenomics and funding of Firo? Right? Because obviously, I mean, let's face it, the price of Firo hasn't really gone up, and obviously, maybe several reasons. One is that privacy as a general sector hasn't really taken off. We have seen coins like Zcash, even Monero, even though which has done relatively well in terms of privacy coins, Grin, Beam, all decent projects. They haven't really taken off in the blue side. Right? But that's one reason. But there's also another reason, right? Because while we follow Bitcoin's halving schedule, the conditions actually aren't really the same. Right? Bitcoin was designed to have very high inflation in the beginning, because then there were no exchanges. The only way to get Bitcoin was to mine it. There weren't like many exchanges like the Binance or the Coinbases. So the only way to get Bitcoin and distribute it is through proof of work. And proof of work is really good at distributing, especially in the absence of exchange or liquid markets to do it. Obviously, the situation has changed a lot right now, and it's almost very hard to find any kind of project that has been fairly launched that would do well today. They either have a pre-mine, a pre-sell, an ICO, an accelerated token emission schedule. So the distribution of coins isn't for 16 years or something. So right now we have to think, okay, look, there's still a large amount of coins being emitted into the system, right? And most of this are going to miners, and that means around 50% of it are going to miners, as you can see. 50% of it are going to miners. And it'll be fine if the miners are, doing something that is active for the network. So, for example, in Bitcoin, in several other coins, they're contributing to security. So you're paying them for security, right? And it's even better if these miners contribute to the project in some way. Being part of the ecosystem, being active community members. But because we have focused on being a GPU mineable coin, what has happened is that because there are many GPU coins and many, it tends to lead to more mercenary miners. That means miners who just mine whatever is profitable. They don't really care about the project, and they sell it to Bitcoin, they sell it to Ethereum, they sell it to whatever coin that is liquid. It's a business decision for them, right? And so we have to ask ourselves, right? Do we still want this proof of work distribution? And we've taken a look at the Block Explorer. Miners they're not even anonymizing. They're sending it to exchanges. And we don't even really see them really as active members of the community. I may be wrong. Hopefully this call, if there are any hardcore Firo GPU miners out there, please voice up. But I haven't seen them really weighing in the forums or contributing to the community in different ways. So how do we kind of stop the bleed, right? We want the miners to stop selling, right? Obviously, we can say like, we have to convince them on the community, convince them on the ideas. It's hard to reach to miners who may just like set up a miner and mine it and may not even care what they're actually mining, right? So instead, we are thinking to ourselves like, look, yes, we still want to keep a proof of work component, but we don't want to dedicate such a huge amount of the supply to it, because in a way we are overpaying for security. So Firo does not actually use proof of work as a security mechanism, right? It actually is a combination. It has a master nodes that secure the network. That means like even if you want a 51% attack, you can't do a 51% attack. Okay, look, there's some people posting the stream who are scammers, so please don't just ignore that for the moment. Okay, but okay. So I'm reading the multi-stream chat. So if anyone has any questions along the way, I will get to them. But please don't, do any sort of giveaways or stuff like that. These are all definitely scams. So take mind of that, ignore that. Just listen to the proposal, and yeah. Okay, so what is my proposal here, right? So first of all, Firo isn't really reliant on miners as security. Miners are a fallback mechanism for security, right? That means you need, unless if you take down the masternode network, or you control enough masternodes, you can take over the network, and then after that you still need to take over the hash rate, right? Which is the mining power. So the mining power is kind of like a backup security mechanism. So we see mining as primarily a distribution mechanism. It is not our primary security mechanism. So, so why are we paying 50% of our supply to these miners who aren't really contributing a lot to security and don't really have, a loyalty to the project? I may be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but again, I haven't seen that, right? So and if you take a look, I was thinking, if there were a lot of miners, right, then it kind of makes sense, right? That means you're really distributing coins to many, many, many different people. But if you take a look at this, this thing over here, it actually shows that when you add up all these miners, right, it only adds up to about 1,200 people. 1,200 unique miners. That means we are giving away, 50% of our new supply to just 1,200. I don't know if you consider that a lot. To me, it's quite little, right? And I don't know where are these community members. So that's interesting as well. So they are earning about 3,600 Firo a day, or about 108,000 Firo a month, which is basically 50% of the new supply. Right? And we aren't alone in this problem, right? We actually see similar issues with coins that follow Bitcoin schedule, that have GPU mining. I mean, like even like Zcash, right? They have fallen very far in the rankings. They have a similar tokenomics model. Beam, even though that again same sort of issue, and Grin, which has an even more aggressive token emission schedule, and even ASICs kind of languish, right? The coins that kind of have done well in this last cycle were basically coins that have really accelerated token emissions. And like for example, Pirate Chain, which is R, right? They fully allocated their chain in two years, right? Some may consider this questionable, but it means that right now there is no selling pressure from miners. It is a very negligible amount of actual selling pressure, because more than 90% of the coins have already been allocated. So even if miners dump everything, there isn't they're only controlling a big portion of the supply, right? So that actually relieves a lot of the selling pressure. So as I was saying, we have been really focusing on making this approachable to miners. We spend so much time developing mining algorithms to help GPU miners, but we haven't seen that same support. And they have dropped off when or mine other coins that are more profitable, right? So I do believe that yes, we do have some hardcore miners that do it for the passion of Firo, but the vast majority of them are just here for the profits, which kind of makes sense if you take a look at the hash rate distribution, right? You see like two miners has more than 50% of the hash rate. And if you were a miner that cared about the health of the project, right, you would be distributing that that hash rate to Minpon, Guli, Picapo, or any of the other chains, right? But because everyone's just focused on profit, they don't really care. Obviously, miners cannot 51% attack the chain because of chain locks, but it's still not ideal to have one mining pool so dominant in the space. Okay? So basically, that whole thing that I was trying to say is that miners are kind of being overpaid. They haven't been really active community members, and it has been a consistent sell pressure on the project. The second problem that we have been facing is that we are a project that is kind of in between, right? We are not VC funded. We don't have huge amounts of money. We didn't allocate huge amounts of the supply to ourselves, which means that the core team does not have large amounts of the supply to be freely allocated for partnerships, for marketing, for all sorts of various things, right? Most of it have gone to the community. We see we've been taking like 15%, which means like 85% of the supply is actually going towards the community. With 15%, which works out to be about 50 to 60,000 US dollars a month, covers all sorts of things. Thanks, best of you too. Thanks for the compliment. I hope that we're doing a great job. Hopefully, we can do a better job, right? So, and so we're not in a good situation because yes, we get about a development reward, and because of this development reward, a lot of the community members don't feel ownership of the project because this feels like, oh yeah, the core team will take care of it because they're being paid to do it, right? Why should I help when the core team is getting paid to do this? Which is kind of likened and comparing us, to okay, hang on. Once you mess with token mix and minor revenue, you're gonna be number 2 straight to the dumpster. Sure. I mean, this is up for discussion. I'll be interested to hear why that is the case. But this is obviously just a proposal to begin with, and obviously if the community or the miners start talking very badly about it, this is all definitely taken into consideration. I'm the project steward. I look after the project. At the end of the day, it's the community that makes the thing. So if miners care, they should be weighing in on the forums right now, right? Which hopefully, we'll be opening this up for a couple of months. It won't be an immediate decision and stuff like that. It is the community will that we think. So if this 1,500 miners make a big difference, then yeah. So really open to your opinions on that. But this is just like currently what the proposal is right now. Okay. So first thing is that we're seeing. So back to the point that I was talking about is that the core team has been shouldering much of the brunt of the work, right? We with $60,000 or $50,000 to $60,000, we are expected to do everything. We're expected to do development, which is definitely our responsibility. Because it's technical, things that community may be difficult for community to weigh in on, like cryptographic research or technical decisions or what curves should be used. Those are best left to experts, right? So that's fine. But we are also expected to fund exchange listings, market making, partnerships, integrations, and these cost a lot of money, like PR and stuff like that. And our tokenomics isn't set up for the core fund to do all of these things, right? Because we only take a very meager amount to fund development. It is not, if an exchange listing costs 300, 400,000 US dollars, that's the entire year's budget spent on one exchange listing versus all the development and research that we do, right? And generally, if you take a look, so how do community run projects pressure or make exchanges want to list them for free, right? So we kind of have to remember Firo or Zcoin as it then was listed on Binance for free because community weighed in and said, Binance, I want you to list Firo, right? And lots of people, we voted and we won that vote and we got in for free. That means, otherwise we would have been spending $1 to $2 million to get on Binance during those times, right? Similarly, Trade Ogre was a recent one, I think a couple of community members petitioned for it. And I feel that exchanges would list things where there is community support. It's not necessarily, yes, one way is to have big VCs with good connections, but we aren't set up like that. We have not sold any of our supply to VCs. We are in the same position as everyone else. So the other way is for community to, take responsibility to get these listings on. But because of this development fund, everyone is like, why should I do this? If I donate, I lose out, and there's no community responsibility. Everything is the core team's decision, which is a really big problem because we want to be a community project. We are just here to do groundbreaking research and development. But at the end of the day, we are building this for the community. And if the community doesn't want to live a hand, then that's a real problem, right? So we were thinking, well, how do we align the incentives to make it such that the community wants to contribute? There's an incentive for them to contribute. There's an incentive and official way to get funding through the Firo network, right? So instead of giving like 50% of the, first of all, you haven't even seen the thing. The development team is not getting a single cent more. Okay, War. It is exactly the same. The 15% development reward, 15% development. We are getting not a single cent more. It is the exact same thing. This community matching fund is not under the control of the development fund. So let me explain this. I have specifically not increased the development reward because we do not want to be accused that we are trying to get rich out of this. Right? The whole idea is that to move this minor reward to primarily the community matching fund. And what is this community matching fund? The community matching fund is not for development. It is not for the core team to use. It is, how would it work? How it will work is something like this, okay? A community member goes and anyone can open up a funding request on the Firo crowdfunding system, right? Let's say like for this one, it was opened by Mikera, right? We have 46 individual contributions and, everyone funds it. You can see the money, the report was all done, right? Payments have been all dispersed. Not a single cent went to the development team, right? It all went to HashCloak that did this particular audit, and it's actually at a discounted price because we are an open source community project. I hope that explains things more. Like we're not getting a single cent more, right? So how the community matching fund works is that, let's say someone comes up with a proposal to do something for the community, right? Like, I want to make an education video, I want to do some additional wallet, right? How would you currently seek funding right now? How would you seek funding right now? What you do is that you open up a crowdfunding request and then hope that people will donate to it. There's no matching requirement, right? As a result, and people are like saying, well, why don't the core team just fund it, right? Instead, if the community wants to see this particular thing being funded, what happens then is that they open the request and they can just donate. They can even donate very small amounts, 1 Firo, 0.5 Firo, and it doesn't matter because the more votes or the more donations that a particular proposal gets, the more that they would get from the community matching fund. So when I say matching, right, matching funds will not be necessarily one-to-one matching. So for example, let's just take a look at how Gitcoin does it, right? So you can see, like from this little chart, right? Look, depending on how many people have contributed to the proposal, the matching amount may be even more than your donation, right? So let's say if I donate $10, the matching might get $74. And where would this money come from? This money will be coming from this community matching fund. right? So what that means is that instead of giving it to the miners, we are giving it to have productive users of the new created supply. That means these aren't just going to miners; these are going to community proposers to make Firo better, get us listed on the exchange, fund an audit, build a new product, build a new a wallet or something that improves Firo, right? And people can get funding directly from the block reward. So it's almost like a DAO, right? So this is meant to almost function like a DAO. So I hope this makes people understand. This does not go towards the core fund at all. The core fund remains the exact same thing. So I would like opinions about this, right? So the separate community will be established. So again, this committee is just more like holding the funds, right? And they are also like if there are people trying to create many small little spends and whatnot, this committee is meant to make sure that everything is fair, and they also hold joint custody of the funds. What that means is that the core team cannot just take the funds and spend it any way they want. It is the joint committees, the way it's a joint committee. They have to publish their reasons, and it's not controlled by the core team. Obviously, it'll be better. It'll be run by known community members. Okay, all right. So the other thing is that people vote not just using like bare votes or a forum vote. They vote using the donations. That means is that if I like this proposal, I pay 0.1 Firo or 0.2 Firo, and that gives more matching, right? So hopefully the matching, the way when people donate, it is almost like an indication that the community wants this. And it also means because there's a real cost to it, people are not just going to just press the button and say, yes, vote for it. They actually have to say, I want this, right? So I hope that makes sense. And the way that this quadratic voting works is that, let's say you'll be thinking, well, I can abuse the system, right? I just create a new proposal, I fund it all myself, and then I get this huge matching fund from the community fund. First of all, that's not how it works, because quadratic voting means that if only one person, even though it's a large amount, if you vote and pay like $50,000 or $100,000, right? That proposal isn't going to get much matching funds because it did not really get much contributors. That means it's only one person supporting it, right? Yeah. The last few streams has been GTU friendly, being collective. It's great. What you think? This stream feels a bit different. I hope the Firo team is going on. Yeah, this is up for discussion. If you're a miner, you don't like to see this, please post why. This is not set in stone. We don't take decisions, without taking community feedback. And seeing like if you're a miner and seeing people like you in the channel contributing, obviously has impact on the overall decision. So, we really, if miners don't like this, let us know in the forums, right? We are not here to dictate things. This is just a proposal, because there's been increasing like unrest in the community saying, we have to do something to shake things up, right? We need to address this thing. So what this proposal does is that instead of just saying core team does everything, now part of the rewards from the miners are now used to fund this new community fund, where community members can get funding from it to fund projects to improve Firo. And I think it is not just about the money, it is about creating a community that wants to give back, that wants to build things on Firo rather than just holding it or using it or whatnot, or this, we are creating an ecosystem, right, of community members eager to contribute. And this is why projects like Ethereum are so strong, right? Because yes, it is the developers, they are the contributors that are willing to push it through. And similarly, even if you see some other projects, they may not have very strong technical ability, they may not have very strong technology, but they have very loyal community members that want to contribute. They want to do translations. They want to be a community manager. They want to spread the word. That's what we want to see in Firo, and that's something that we, in my opinion, are lacking. And we want to use this mechanism to encourage community members to give back, rather than just like, I'm just going to host a masternode. I'm just going to do mining, and let the core team do everything else. So I hope everyone comes to this forum topic and weighs in, right? And in a way, this proposal basically solves what I feel several issues. It reduces the distribution of supply to miners and the overpayment of security, because miners don't really provide security to Firo right now, and instead reallocates this Firo to the community, not to the core team, to the community to decide what they want to do with it. And this is also important because it trains the community to evaluate and discuss proposals. Right now, it's like, we discuss, at the end of the day, it's almost a core team just saying, okay, yes, go ahead with it. It is very centrally determined. We want the community to feel that they have a say in the project rather than just participating in community meetings, but a direct say over the funding over the project. It is like a DAO. Yeah. The live stream is for something. I don't know what happens at the end. Everything's all right. Oh, that's fine. Nothing has changed. Everything is still smooth. It is just something to discuss a proposal. I had time, and I just wanted to share this while I was fresh to do this. This wouldn't be the only time that we will be discussing this. We would have several community meetings, several AMA sessions, lively forum community decisions. This is not going to be decided over one thing. This is just an introduction to the proposal, explaining the reasoning, answering questions that people may have, and addressing any sort of things. I just wanted to explain this proposal. There's nothing particularly wrong with the thing. I mean, price could be better, but nothing has really changed. There's nothing bad or anything. It is just merely a proposal to improve Firo, and this thing will not happen in the next 2-3 months. At the soonest, maybe 6 months. We want to make sure that the community has enough time to weigh in, to discuss, and there will be many opportunities to do so. This won't be the only time. Obviously, we will have scheduled community meetings at different time zones, hopefully months of discussion, and a forum topic, more people replying to the forum rather than this. Obviously, this was just posted an hour ago, so we're not going to see that much responses yet. So I've more or less kind of finished explaining what it is. I just wanted to know, those who are attending right now, do you have any opinions? Do you have any sort of feedback? Are there any sort of questions that you want me to answer? This wasn't something that came about just because price is low or something. This was something that I've been thinking about for quite a long time. I had a discussion with several other experts in the field, and we were discussing, okay, how do we make this better? So previously there were some ideas about parallel assets, redenomination. Let me show you. For example, there was this community proposal about parallel assets. You can read it over here, or redenomination. And sure, if the community really wants that, but so far it just seems a bit like 50-50. And I wanted to make sure that there were several ways, several options on the table for the community to decide. Again, it is for the community to decide, and we really want to see what you guys think, right? If you don't like it, that's fine. Let us know. You need to know, right? Just be polite, explain your reasoning, right? Don't say that, oh yeah, you're going to be number two straight to dumpster. Or why? Why do you think that's the case, right? If you think you're greedy, why? Because the development team doesn't get a single cent more, right? Or you're saying that, all right, we've been supportive of GPU miners. Why are we changing stance? That's a valid question, right? I've laid out why, right? But we haven't really seen the support from the GPU miners or stuff like that. So um, so yeah. Oh yeah. So the other part of this proposal is that because now master nodes are the primary security mechanism, right? We want to, and right now, like the APY for a master node is like 11-12%, right? And similarly, people who make master nodes, although technically they can decommission it and sell every time, they tend to be more long-term holders and believers of the project because they're willing to go through the steps to host permanent infrastructure for Firo. They're not like GPU miners that can switch here and there from different coins. They are there exclusively for Firo, right? And because they are providing majority of the security, we also propose to have additional amount given to the master nodes or service nodes or however you want to call it. Now, just for complete disclosure, I don't even own a single master node, even though I hold a lot of Firo. I'm using that Firo to support the community and providing liquidity on various exchanges and doing stuff with it. I am not this 50%, if it doesn't benefit me personally at all. You can ask all nodes, you ask anyone, do I host any master nodes? No, I don't. It's not because I don't believe in the project. I have probably more Firo than most people here, but it's because I want to provide liquidity on Atomic DEX. I want to provide liquidity on various new exchange listings, and I want to support the project rather than just see it as a passive investment and stuff like that. So, does anyone have any questions? If not, this won't be the last time. We'll definitely have a lot more discussions about it, and apologize for the impromptu nature of this, but we will definitely have scheduled meetings. But because I put this post out, I wanted to make sure that people who are reading it have the proper context of why I'm proposing it and the reasoning behind it. So yeah, if there are no questions, we can discuss about it in the channel, and will definitely be available, and we'll be monitoring the forums very closely. So yeah. All right. Thank you very much, guys. I hope I have, explained this well enough. It's 12:39 a.m. here. Should get to sleep. And for those people who have supported the community, just being active participants, even just by coming here, buying Firo, supporting us, or like, for example, the Trade Ogre listing, a couple of community members reached out to Trade Ogre and asked us to be listed. We got listed for free. We really, we really appreciate it. Glad you had the time to let everyone know. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we really want to hear from you. We are most active on Telegram, but obviously, if you want to have a more long-term discussion, right, it's better to be on the forums. You have a quick question. Let's say you're writing a reply and like, oh, I want some clarity on that. Drop by our Discord. Drop by our website. You can find our links. Let's see. You can find our links on our website, and you can see it on the community and socials: Discord, forum, YouTube, Telegram. Anyway, all right. So I'll be ending this stream now. Oops. And thanks everyone for the support. And I really hope, I'm here for Firo. I've been for Firo for a very long time. And I really want